My name is Elena. I'm 29 years old, and lately, I've found myself caught in a fog I can't seem to shake. I'm not sure anymore if my husband is a wounded man trying to be better, or someone who quietly thrives on my unraveling. And I don't know which thought scares me more. I've never opened up like this before, not publicly, not even to close friends. But after 12 years together and 2 children, I'm so tired. Tired of doubting my instincts. Tired of wondering whether I'm the broken one, or if the man I trusted with my entire life has been quietly breaking me piece by piece. I met Darren when I was 17, and he was 20. He was steady, charming, calm in a way I hadn't known. I came from chaos, years of violence, neglect, addiction, constantly shifting homes, and never once feeling safe. Darren knew all of it. He used to say he admired how strong I was, that he wanted to give me the kind of life I'd been denied. At 18, I moved in with him. At 22, we had our first child. Looking back now, I can see there were signs early on, small fractures I ignored because I so badly wanted to believe in stability. Just 1 year into living together, I found out he had been messaging his ex behind my back. These weren't innocent catch-ups. He'd been telling her that I was perfectly okay with them staying in touch. I wasn't. When I confronted him, he brushed it off like it was nothing, told me I was overreacting, said I misunderstood. And when I told him it hurt, that it made me feel replaced and invisible, he didn't validate those feelings. He decided for me that they weren't worth having. Something in me cracked that day, not from betrayal itself, but from the way he rewrote my reality without permission. There's something else, something I'm deeply ashamed to talk about. Darren had a serious pornography addiction. For me, coming from a background riddled with trauma and abandonment, it didn't just feel like disconnection. It felt like betrayal. I told him how it made me feel, how deeply it triggered me. But instead of facing it, he just became more secretive. Incognito tabs, wiped histories, denial when caught. And in the ugliest moment of that cycle, I did something I still struggle to forgive myself for. I agreed to let him film me. I hated every second of it, but I wanted to feel like I was enough. Even that wasn't enough. He never offered to stop, not until he was caught again. It wasn't just the secrets. It was a slow erosion of reality. Darren has a habit of telling me I've said things I know I didn't say, that I've done things I don't remember doing. And when I push back, he laughs it off or smirks and says, "You know your memory's terrible." And maybe it is. Trauma does that. But lately, I find myself wondering if I'm truly forgetful, or if he's crafting a version of the truth that protects him and keeps me doubting myself. Each time I try to bring up how I feel, he starts crying. Instantly, the moment becomes about him, his childhood, his pain, his trauma. Suddenly, I'm holding him up while drowning myself. He promises to change. He asks what he can do to make things right. I tell him, clearly, I lay it out, and for a week, 2 weeks at most, things improve. Then it fades, like the conversation never happened. It used to take me days to explain how I felt. I'd dissociate, check out completely, because feeling invisible was safer than being dismissed. But Darren hated that too. He'd demand that I open up when I wasn't ready. Now I try to speak sooner, but most days I bury everything, because I already know what follows. More guilt, more apologies, more promises that won't hold. I work nights. On weekends, Darren watches the kids while I sleep. One morning, I woke up to find the house empty. Our 6-year-old daughter was home alone. No note, no breakfast, nothing. He had taken our son to the store, left her behind, and didn't even wake me. When I asked what happened, he claimed he was gone for only 30 minutes, but mentioned stopping by 2 auto shops, a garage sale, and even a cafe. None of it added up. What frightened me most wasn't a lie. It was the fact that he took both sets of car keys with him and smiled when I asked about it. A few months before that, we opened bank accounts for the kids and misplaced their Social Security cards. I panicked, tore the house apart. He barely reacted. Then, like magic, the cards reappeared in the top drawer of my dresser, a drawer I only use for clothes. He laughed when I told him. "Guess it was you after all," he said. Later, when I pressed, he admitted it was probably him. No apology, Just another twist in a game I didn't realize I was playing. He jokes often that I'm stuck with him forever. Says if I ever try to leave, he'd lock me in the closet. The kids laugh when he says it. I force a laugh too, but it's not something deep inside me. He tells them, Mommy and Daddy will never get divorced. You'll never have step-parents. Like the ending to my story has already been decided, and I don't get a say. I have dreams of starting my own daycare. A small one from home, a step toward independence, a path to reclaiming myself. I've done the math. I plan to juggle my night job and the daycare for a year, just to pay off debt and get stable. Darren keeps telling me to quit one, that I'm taking on too much, that I should slow down. He says it with concern in his voice. But all I hear is the sound of a man trying to keep me from moving forward, trying to keep me tired, tethered, dependent. I've told him what I need from him to feel loved. Not grand gestures, just romance, small thoughtful things. A note, a favorite snack, a hand on the back at the right time. He shrugs. I'm not romantic, he says. My parents weren't like that. I never learned how. But love isn't inherited. It's built, and he's never tried. Sometimes I find myself wishing he would cheat on me, just so I'd have something solid, something I could point to and say, see? That's why I left. I know how that sounds. But when someone chips away at your dignity slowly, steadily, and no one sees it happening, you begin to fantasize about escape, even if the cost is more pain. But what keeps me up at night is this. I've spent years trying to build a safe, loving home for my children, something I never had, and now I fear I've just taught them how to survive dysfunction, not how to live in peace, not how to recognize love. I don't know if what I'm experiencing is gaslighting. I don't know if Darren is doing this on purpose or if he's just as lost as I am. But I do know this. The longer I stay silent, the more I disappear. And maybe I don't need him to shatter me completely to justify leaving. Maybe the quiet ache of being erased, of being unseen, is reason enough.